Hello and a very good day everyone. So today we will learn on data analysis using Power Query and Pivot Table. As you can see in this particular file, we do have a company called ABC Berhad. And in ABC Berhad, they do have the sales of Apple products such as iPhone, MacBook, Apple Watch, iPad. And each product, they have their respective models such as iPhone 13, iPhone 14, MacBook Pro, Apple Watch series. So in this table, basically they have the sales of each particular month like January, February and March. So based on this given workbook, basically I want to perform a data analysis whereby I want to calculate the monthly sales and its month-on-month trending. I also want to calculate the total sales for each Apple product. I also want to know the top 5 sales of the Apple product model, and basically I also want to know the overall sales, and based on the overall sales I want to perform a data storytelling. So let's get started. Alright, so if you look in this particular file, we do have more than one table. So we do have other categories, iPad, Apple Watch, MacBook and also iPhone. So we do have more than one table. So in this case, we need to use Power Query to do the data cleaning. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to create a new sheet. I press Ctrl N and it will go to a new sheet. And then after that, I go to data and then I click get data because I want to import the data from an external source. Get data from file Excel workbook because my original source is in an Excel format. So Excel workbook, then you will notice that a box will appear. So in this particular box, you must know where you save. So I save in my documents and the file name is 5th November and I press import. Once I press import, you will notice that a box will appear. So in this particular box, if you notice, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the sheet. So I'm going to select the sheet name, which is part 5. And then I will straight away go to transform data. So what I'll do is I'll click on transform data. So once I click transform data, it will go to Power Query Editor. As you can see over here, we have navigated to Power Query Editor. And in this Power Query Editor, we will do the data cleaning. So this column is not necessary. So I can click on this column and I can press delete. Why I say this column is not necessary? Because if you look here carefully, we don't have any information. All what we have is null. So basically null in Power Query Editor means it shows that the cells are blank. So when the cells are blank in an Excel file, in Power Query Editor, it will show as null. So what I want to do is, like I told you, I want to delete this particular column. So once I delete this particular column, what is the next step is, I want to fill down because this is for iPhone products, this is for MacBook, this is for Apple Watch. So I press right click and then what I'll do is, I'll go to fill and fill down. So once I fill down, so here you go, it has already filled down. And then if we look on this first row, basically we don't have any information. So what I want to do is, I want to remove the first row. So how you want to remove the row in Power Query? Well, under the home ribbon, we do have remove rows. So we click remove row, remove the top row. Why remove the top row? Because the first row is located at the top. So that is why we click on remove top row. Once we click remove top row, a box will appear. They will ask us how many rows you want to remove. I want to remove only one row, this first row only. So I put here 1, I press OK. Once I press OK, the row will be removed. Now the next step what I do is, I need to promote this as the header. So I will just go to home and then under home we have use first row as header. Or you can also go to transform and click use first row as header. So either way up to you. So I'm going to just click here. So it will be promoted as the header. So now we have here iPhone and then we have the product categories like iPhone, MacBook, Apple Watch. Here we have the models and here we have the months. But if you look carefully, here we have the total, here we have the null. So I don't want this information. What I do is, I will click on this filter box and I will unselect the null and I will also unselect the total. And then I press OK. So now it looks better. And then what's the next step is, I want to unpivot the column. January, February, March. So until the respective months, I want to unpivot. So you can actually select these first two columns. Right click, unpivot other columns. So when you select these two columns, the other columns will be unpivot. And just like that, it has already unpivot the column. and then you can actually rename the header. So I can just put here product category. Here you can just put the models. Here you can put the months. Here you can put the value, or you want to put in RM also can. And I want to change this format to a whole number. And then just like that, it has changed. Now what I want to do is, I will go to home and I will not click close and load, because when you click close and load, it will load as a table format. So I want to click as close and load too. Okay, bear in mind, when you press close and load, it will load as a table format. So I want to press close and load too. So when I press close and load too, automatically this box will appear. So if you are using a 2016 version, you can either load in a table format or only create connection. But from 2019 onwards, Microsoft 2019, you can either load in table, pivot chart, or only create connection. So in this case, I want to load as a pivot table report, and I press OK. So here you go, it has already loaded in a pivot table format. And then if you notice in my sticky note, what I want is basically I want to do all this particular information, this particular requirement. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste it over here. Okay. So first step is I actually want to calculate the monthly sales. So I will tick on the month and I will tick on the RM. So now this is the monthly sales. And then of course this is not in the proper format. So what I'll do is I'll press right click, and then after that I'll go to number format, and then after that I'll choose accounting. So you want to put the symbol also can, but I don't want the symbol. I'll put none, and I'll put no decimal places, and I press OK. So right now we do have the monthly sales. And then we can also determine its month-on-month trending. So basically, I'll just put the RM over here, and then I'll just right click. I go to show value as, and then I will just go to percentage different from. So I click this, a small box will appear, base item, I choose previous, I press OK. So right now, it will show that month on month, there is a reduction of sales for the Apple products. So then what I'll do is I'll copy this pivot table and then I'll paste it over here. So this pivot table basically determines the monthly sales and its month on month trending. The next one is I want to find the total sales for each Apple product. So what I'll do is I'll unselect the RM first. I unselect the months. I want to know the product categories. So we have the product, and I want to know its total sales. So we have the total sales. So I'm going to do it again. Right click, number format, and then accounting, no decimal places, and no symbol, press OK. So now we have the total sales. And let me just sort. Right click, sort largest to smallest. So from what we understand is iPhone has the largest portion, but I also want its apportionment. So I just put the RM again, and then I just press right click, and then I will just go to show value as and percentage of grand total. So just like that, we can understand that iPhone and iPad, Apple Watch dominate the industry. So basically when I highlight all this, I can understand that 93% of the Apple sales has been dominated by iPhone, iPad and Apple Watch. Next one is I want to know the top 5 sales of Apple product model. So I'm going to copy this and then I'll just paste it over here. Okay, I'll unselect the product categories. I will select the models. So right now we have all the models, but I don't want to know everything. Basically, I want to know the top 5. So I'll just click here, value filter, top 10, but it's not top 10. Basically, I want to know top 5. So I'll just put here 5 and I press OK. So here we have the top 5. I just want to right click, sort largest to smallest. So here you go. So this RM is not necessary. You can actually right click this and then you can press this remove. So what we can understand is iPhone 14 Pro is the largest sales for Apple product model, and then followed by iPad, Apple Watch and so on. And then the next thing is I want to know the overall sales, and I want to create a data storytelling. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paste it over here. Okay. So in this case, what I want to do is, of course, I want to clear this filter. So we have all the product models, but I want to put the product categories as well. So this is the details, and I want to put the RM as well, so that we do have this 2RM. So now this is not in a proper format. I will just go to design, I'll go to report layout, and I put in tabular form. So once I put in tabular form, this in the proper format, and what I'm going to do here is right click and then show value as percentage of parent row total. So once I click this, you will notice that this is the analysis that we can understand. So basically from what we can analyze is iPhone dominate the Apple sales by 52%, and if we took specifically on the iPhone category, it is dominated by iPhone 14 Pro, almost of 30%. So basically from here, we can actually communicate this information to our superior. So what you can do is basically you can actually upkeep this information. So let me just press Ctrl A, Ctrl X, and then just paste it over here. So this is the information. So this is the monthly sales and it's month on month trending. And then over here, this is the total sales, where you can actually determine for the total sales of each product and its apportionment. And the third thing is you can also determine the top 5 sales, the top 5 sales of Apple product model. And the last one is you can actually perform the overall sales, and based on this you can actually create a data storytelling. Okay, so basically that's the interesting thing. We use Power Query to perform data cleaning, and we use pivot table to perform data analysis.